What's up, everybody? Happy Friday. We had some action today, huh? Day 4 of the trial. We heard from none other than Gwyneth Paltrow.
So Gwyneth has lost the sweaters. I wonder if Gwyneth was looking at I'm going to make a comment real quick. I wonder if Gwyneth has been looking at the internet coverage and the criticism of the sweaters. The hair is more done today. The outfit is a bit more tailored. I think it's unfortunate, however, that women in court are held to a very different standard than men in court. We don't tend to focus on what they're wearing other than I like that tie or what have you. The internet focuses much more on what women are wearing in court and what their face looks like and what have you, which is just a function of our society. And I could go on about that forever. But I have seen a change in the way she dresses, and that is the only reason I am talking about how she's dressing, because she has changed her appearance. And I just wonder if that is due to the way that the internet has talked about what she's wearing.
The Secret Service, the only people on Earth who can pull off aviator sunglasses. Gwyneth.
So Lon Lumber said at the close yesterday, it was suggested she would be called before Terry. She dressed for the stand. If Gwyneth takes the stand today, that will be very interesting, won't it?
I don't know that.
His team is passing him notes.
My client tells me to land the plane, and so I'm quit. I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you, counsel.
What? My client tells me to land the plane, and so I'm done.
Thank you.
All right.
No more questions.
Does the defense have any reason to call
This
her
witness
back?
is done.
Okay, so you're completely
What the
released from
fuck
any
just
legal obligation
happened?
here. Thank you.
My client has told me to land the plane. Gwyneth is like, be done.
Can you call your next witness?
Thank you, Your Honor. We'd like to call Gwyneth Paltrow.
Holy shit! It's happening! It's happening! It's happening! It's happening! It's
I swear that the
happening!
testimony you are about to give in the case now before the court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but
Holy
the truth.
shit,
So
that
help you
went
God.
fast.
Thank you.
I have whiplash. That happened
Good
so quickly.
afternoon.
Oh my God. And Gwyneth Paltrow takes the stand.
Could you state your name and spell it for the record, please?
Yes, my legal name is Gwyneth Kate Paltrow Falchuk. That's Gwyneth Kate Paltrow Falchuk.
Great, thank you. May I call you Miss Paltrow?
Sure.
Okay, fantastic. As you've seen the last few days, we always have the witnesses give background information, tell about yourself, etc. I have a feeling that everybody in the courtroom knows who you are, so we're not going to go through all the background. We're just going to kind of cut to the chase. Is that fair?
Sounds fine.
All right, wonderful. Let's just talk about skiing.
Gwen on the stand. Who doesn't want to see that? Who doesn't want to see that? As soon as I saw she took the stand, I was like, oh yeah, I'm in. I'm in. I am in. Oh, yes. I just want to say, I know a lot of people hate Gwyneth Paltrow. I don't personally hate her. I don't know much about her. I know a lot of people hate her.
Paltrow Falchuk.
Great.
Oh
thank
yeah,
you.
I
May
should
call you
remind
Miss
those of you who are not who are a little bit confused. She was involved in a ski crash. The plaintiff suffered injuries to his brain and 4 broken ribs. Her version of events is that the guy crashed into her. Plaintiff's version of events is that she crashed into him.
You were going along relatively slowly. Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay. I'm just going to kind of ask you a couple
Sure.
questions. So let me know if anything I say is not accurate.
Okay.
So you're going down relatively slowly when all of a sudden you heard a strange rustling noise behind you.
Yes.
Okay. And you felt like a rush of air in a strange way.
Yes.
Okay. And 2 skis slid in between my skis.
That's correct.
2 skis.
And all of a sudden, there was a body from the whole front of a body pressing into my back.
That's right.
Okay. Like, we'll talk about this in a minute. And there was a man behind me pressing into me. How did you know it was a man?
Because he was making some strange noises that sounded male, and he was large. So I assumed it was a male.
Okay, he was large.
You guessed
I
his
thought
pronouns. You're
all my
assuming his
back.
pronouns.
Okay.
Pressing
Okay. All right. There was a man pressing behind me, pressing into me. I was extremely upset.
I was Me Too'd on the slopes.
Well, I was confused at first and I didn't know exactly what was happening. It's a very strange thing to happen on a ski slope. And that
I agree.
I froze, and I would say I got very upset a couple seconds later.
Okay.
How do you freeze?
Let me just continue on here. I just want to make sure that I got this all right. I didn't know if it was an intentional assault of a sexual nature.
Right.
Okay. Was he grinding and thrusting or something, or just the noises? What made you think it was a sexual assault?
So that was a quick thought that went through my head when I was trying to reconcile what was happening. I was skiing and two skis came between my skis, forcing my legs apart. And then there was a body pressing against me.
She's really saying she was
a very
Me Too'd.
strange grunting noise. So my brain was trying to make sense of what was happening. I thought,
what the heck?
Is this a practical joke? Is someone like doing something perverted? This is really, really strange. My mind was going very, very quickly, and I was trying to ascertain what was happening.
She sounds credible when she's describing
I think you said, I didn't know if it was an accident, but he was groaning and grunting in a very disturbing way.
Yes, there was a sort of groan coming out of his mouth.
Okay. Then you said, I froze.
Yes.
We kept skiing.
Right.
We went to the right.
Yes.
We came crashing down together.
That's right.
Okay. You said this man was behind me on the mountain. My knee and our skis were still sort of tangled up.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Is that yes?
Yes. Sorry.
Okay. Our bodies were almost spooning, and I moved away quickly.
Yes.
And my knee splayed open, and I was completely in shock.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
She's really saying she was Me Too'd on the
there.
slope.
Okay.
And if the court and Ms. Paltrow, if you don't mind, since again, when we did this over Zoom, would you mind stepping down and us kind of acting this out a little bit so I could get a good
I would very much mind.
Can we approach Your Honor?
That's what she should say. I would very much mind. That's what she should say. Yes, I would very, very much mind. Why would this is not a visual that she should want to have anyone like she should, for her to say like this is uncomfortable and this is kind of traumatic and I really don't want to think about it. That would be an appropriate response for her to say here based on how this entire thing is being described. Would you mind? Yeah, no, I'm not doing that with you. Like this is such a weird request. There we go.
The court doesn't mind if I act it out, correct?
Let's just get a sustained.
Yeah, the objection was sustained as requested, but you're welcome to move around the courtroom.
Wonderful, thank you. Do you have a microphone? Yes.
Yeah, that seems like a happy way. That seems like a happy way to enable the plaintiff to give a visual.
Your counsel doesn't want you to come down, so I'm not going to ask you to come down.
That's inappropriate. The judge sustained the objection, so she shouldn't comment on what I want. It's what the judge wants.
The objection was sustained.
I am going to try and be both you and
point.
Mr. Sanderson at the same time.
Let's have Bob.
This is going to work.
Bob can be.
Let's have Mr. Sanderson. He's here.
I don't want to. We're not going to reenact what happened. I think you can ask questions, and
Yes.
if you want to stand and move around in order to
Perfect.
help you with those questions,
This
you can do that. But that's as far as we're going to go.
That's
Let's put on a play. Let's put on a play here. Yeah, seriously. If the story isn't true, it's about to be. Oh my gosh. This is they should have anticipated this. The plaintiff should have anticipated, like, okay, we know that that's her allegation. Do you really think a judge is going to allow us to actually reenact this whole thing here? And if we want the jury to get a visual as to how her story of events doesn't really make sense. So in that, and we can only do it by acting it out. They should have sort of foreseen, okay, this is what we're going to do. All of a sudden now he's coming up here saying, let's get our client up here to to gyrate behind the female attorney. I don't know if that's a good look for your client either. I don't know that. I'm just saying. I personally don't think I would want the jury to get a visual of the plaintiff potentially, doing something that looks like a Me Too moment on his own attorney. I don't think that's endearing. This is the ski accident. This is apparently that she said this is that Gwyneth Paltrow said that while it was happening, she thought that she was being assaulted. And as I can't blame her feeling fine. After all, Paltrow was one of the first allegedly accused by Weinstein. I think she was 17 years old. Really? I didn't know that. Thank you for the background.
We had one instance in a hotel room where he made a pass at me. And then I really kind of stood up to him. I told my boyfriend at the time,
Brad Pitt.
So what happened was I told him right away, and I was very shaken by the whole thing. And I had 2 movies. I'd signed up to do 2 movies with him. He leveraged his fame and power to protect me at a time when I didn't have fame or power yet. He said, if you ever make her feel uncomfortable again, I'll kill you, or something like that.
Right? You're not saying to the jury that this was in any way, shape, or form a sexual assault.
I am not saying that.
Okay.
I'm just saying what went through my mind for a split second when it was happening.
All right.
I would
great.
think.
So you're down on the ground, and then you started yelling at him.
I don't remember if I started yelling at him while I was on the ground. I remember pushing away because I was very upset, and it was still very strange to me what had happened.
Yeah. It's strange to me
And
what just
I
happened.
pushed down the hill, and I turned around and I yelled at him.
Okay. Did you scream before you went down?
I don't think so.
Okay.
She didn't go
So if
down on
others
anyone.
heard a scream, you wouldn't, that wasn't you.
No, I froze. When he slid between my skis, I absolutely froze. And I don't remember yelling or screaming until I was very angry at what had happened.
Yeah.
Okay. And
I'd be
so
furious.
you guys are on the ground. And then you said to him, I think you don't know if you were up or if you were still on the ground, but he was still on the ground, right?
Yes.
When you said, what are you doing?
Yes.
Okay. Like, why did you do that?
Yes.
And he said, I think you skied into me.
Yes.
And that's when you were furious and said, you skied directly into my effing back at the
Sorry.
top of your lungs.
Yes, I did.
So then this is consistent. This is a consistent testimony. This is a consistent through line. And she's saying, yeah, I did. I screamed at him. And that's exactly what I said. That sounds correct. Like, there's no inconsistencies here. This dumbass attorney is making her more and more believable. And by her reenacting it or attempting to, I happen to believe Miss Goop far more than I believe these goopy attorneys.
I wouldn't be surprised if next week the jury comes back in an hour and says, you two, go away, no recovery of costs.
I could see that. I could see it being no liability assignment to either, or 50-50 liability, which is basically zero recovery. Because then in our state, we offset. So if it's a 70-30, then she really only has to pay 40% if she's found 70% liable. If she's 30% liable, he's 70% liable on the counterclaim, then he will have to pay her 40%. Does that make sense? So that's the way we divide liability here.
Does screaming at the top of your lungs profanities at Mr. Sanderson when he's on the ground keeping a low profile?
After an incident like that where you feel hurt and violated, unfortunately, adrenaline can take over an emotion as well.
Okay. And counsel had asked you about touching you without your permission. I just want to make clear, we didn't do the little
dance.
Thank you.
Yeah, the little dance.
The assault reenactment.
But when I tried to reenact it with myself, which is, I'm sure I'll get crap for that later from my children. It was the front of his body that you believe.
Wait. Was there a self reenactment?
Yes, this is so does this questioning seem ridiculously inappropriate to you?
No, I mean, I have that demeanor, like, and it plays well with me because I'm kind of cute when I want to be, but I don't. This is not cute. This is forced and it's domineering and it's gross. Like, so she played with herself. Did that happen?
Well, it's one step below the girl on girl enactment that we wanted to see, but
Oh, okay. So it was a solo reenactment of a sexual assault.
Yes, that's the next best thing.
Oh.
And with the lesser two that you'd want to see that you'd pay for, you see. So, but it's all we could get. You know, it's when you go out, it's like you take what you can get.
I can't.
Touched you, right?
Yes.
Not his arms, not his hands.
Correct.
Okay. And when you guys fell to the ground, you landed on him. He did not land on you.
That's right.
Okay. All right. You screamed when you fell?
What I remember, the first time I remember yelling was at Mr. Sanderson after the accident, but it's possible that I could have yelled when we were falling.
This makes so much more sense. Why she was yelling?
And then you described and you kind of put with your fingers how Mr. Sanderson's skis went in between yours. Do you have any explanation how somebody...
Hold up. Did you see him smile in the way he played with his leg when she said that?
No, I didn't. Back it up a little bit. Let's see that again.
Hold on.
He's enjoying
Absolutely
it.
not.
He's getting off
But
on
he was on.
how Mr. Sanderson's skis went in between yours. Do you have any...
Look at him. Look at that smirk right there. What's that about? Am I the only one seeing that? I can't hear you, Steve. You've muted yourself.
There is something to be said for this this idea that, you know, he might have seen her and kind of followed her and accidentally smashed into her. And he's kind of getting off on this. Valhalla Waite says that what was it? He said here, like, sexual promiscuity is a symptom of brain injury, you know, and that there is, like, this is your chance to kind of get around some hot chick or something, you know, and like
that's what it looks like.
Yeah, and like he's really enjoying the whole experience of having her in my clutches, you know, in my power. If I can't have you, no one can. Kind of, you know, it's sort of that. It's like giving somebody attention. If I can get you, I've got your attention. Even if it's negative attention, I now have your attention, right? So I'm dominating you.
Yeah,
there's a little of this. There's some strange stuff going on here, and you know, a beautiful woman is a target for that kind of male obsession behavior, and I have not yet discounted that as a possibility within this scenario. You know,
he looks like, he looks. I mean, his daughter's to this commentator. Where was it? Stella. Thanks, Stella. True fact. Look at his daughters. They're effed up. If he's deriving pleasure out of this, which it looks like he is, and he was nodding along earlier when she was talking about like not accepting touch or not consenting to his touch. He was doing this, and now here he is smiling.
In fact, you know, like Megan said when he only enters the courtroom when she goes on the stand.
Yeah, that's
an odd thing. Well, this whole there's this I want to be likable and we're just friends kind of dynamic that they're playing. It's like the female warfare. Like, let me get everybody liking me.
I love this.
And then I'm going to get everybody liking you, and everybody's going to like me, and they're not going to like you. We're going to line everybody up, and they're going to go to war. It's this social warfare here but it's not appropriate in a courtroom, I don't think.
No, it makes sense the way she described it, that he comes in from behind, skis go between her, hits her, and then she does fall on top of him. That's how she describes it, and they kind of roll because that can cause broken ribs. It's his fault, but she's not saying he doesn't have broken ribs. She's not even saying he doesn't have a concussion. Later, she kind of agrees to that stuff, or at least that she's heard testimony of it. And this description of the crash and the fall could make sense with that. It could make sense. She talked about screaming, you know, you skied into my effing back, and Sanderson said sorry, and then she apologized for her language in court. But there was another mean girl statement here, which I was like, when she said, my eyebrows raised.
Okay.
I apologize for my bad language.
And well, in fact, you were screaming that so hard, you were worried that Moses was hearing you.
Yes.
Okay. And after you were screaming to him, isn't that when Mr. Sanderson said, I'm sorry, I'm sorry?
I said, you skied directly into my effing back. And he said, oh, sorry, I'm sorry.
Right. And that was you screaming at him while he's on the ground still, right?
I was yelling at him.
Pretty loud, pretty forceful.
I was pretty upset.
Right. You're small but mighty. Actually, you're not that small.
Like what? Come again? You're small but mighty. Actually, you're not that small. I was like, I literally, the Homer Simpson going back into the bush. You're small but mighty. Actually, you're not that small. Imagine one of the dudes doing that. Imagine Sykes doing that. I was like, oh my gosh, that was so uncomfortable. But she was trying to correct herself, because the reason she said that is you don't want her to be this small little petite person. You want her to be big and mighty to wreck Terry Sanderson and injure him. So she didn't want the jury to think, oh, we think that she's small. I almost fell out of my chair when that happened.
Well, you learned about that through Taylor Swift because she asked for $1 in symbolic damages, right?
And I think I said at that point I had not been familiar with it, but I since am.
Now you are. But at the time, a couple of years ago in 2020, you didn't know anything about Taylor Swift's $1 symbolic damage lawsuit?
Just relevance, Your Honor.
Yeah, what is the relevance?
Yeah, because I asked her about it at the time, and she denied it.
And she's going to shake it off.
Correct.
Can you
Shake
answer
it
the question?
off. Shake it.
I was not aware at the time.
Are you good friends with Taylor Swift?
No,
Relevance.
It's you.
Overruled?
You're not good friends with Taylor Swift.
I would not say we're good friends. We are friendly. I've taken my kids to one of her concerts
I
before,
want to take
but
my kids to one
we
of her
don't
concerts. I just
talk
want to
very
go.
often.
You've never given Miss Swift personal, intimate gifts for Christmas.
What do you mean by intimate? Did you give Taylor Swift a vagina egg? What? Why is Taylor Swift involved? Excuse me. Taylor Swift would like to be excluded from this narrative right now.
I would very much like to be excluded from this narrative.
Leave Taylor Swift alone. I want to hear about these gifts. Was it the gold vibrator? I want to know.
Relevance, or I
Sustained
would
as
like
to
a
relevance.
bench trial.
Well, she's just said that she wasn't friends with her, so I'm inquiring on that.
Ask her about Oprah. I mean,
Ask
her about Oprah.
Sustained. Please move on.
Fucking hell.
You're telling the jury that you are here asking for $1.
I am.
That's not totally accurate, though, is it?
Send it to Daryl.
What do you mean?
You're not good friends with Taylor Swift.
I would not say we're good friends. We are friendly. I've taken my kids to one of her concerts before, but we don't talk very often.
You've never given Miss Swift personal, intimate gifts for
Objection.
Christmas.
Your Honor. Relevance, or I
Sustained
would
as
like
to
a
relevance.
bench trial.
Well, she's just said that she wasn't friends with her, so I'm inquiring on that.
Ask her about Oprah. I mean,
Mr. Owens. Sustained. Please move on.
Can we get your Rolodex?
You're telling the
Give us your
jury
phone. I want to see your
that
phone.
you are here asking for